Wine catches the candlelight as the toast circles the room. To the king's return, to Napoleon's fall, to a France certain of itself again. The guests drink as one. Villefort raises his glass with them, his smile effortless, his voice carrying across the table. The Marquise de Saint-Méran is the first to set her glass down. Conversation fades around her, thinning before a question meant to strike. "Does your father share our joy tonight, Monsieur Villefort?" she asks, almost gently. "He wore the Emperor's colors once, and wore them proudly." Villefort does not flinch. "My father's politics are his own," he says. "They do not touch mine, nor my loyalty to the king." The toasts begin again. Glasses fill. Villefort laughs at a passing remark, and every note of it sounds correct. Only his eyes remain still, fixed on a door no one else is watching, measuring a danger he has sworn before witnesses does not exist. A clerk slips through the door Villefort has been watching and bends close to his ear. The words are too quiet for the table. The change in Villefort's posture is not. René touches his arm. "Tonight? Now?" A ship's manifest, a name flagged for questioning. He covers her hand with his. "Nothing that should trouble a night like this. I will be lenient, and I will be quick." He kisses her fingers and rises. The Marquise watches him leave without a word. René's smile lingers a moment too long. At the threshold, the clerk murmurs the accused man's name, Dante. Villefort does not ask who he is. The door closes behind him. Inside, the music finds its rhythm again. Outside, the cold receives a different man than the one who made that promise. The magistrate is already weighing what a single name might cost him, and the promise remains behind at the table beside her. The room is spare, lit by a single lamp between them. Villefort listens more than he speaks, the file lying open and barely examined. Dante answers without hesitation. There is no careful editing, no fear in his voice. Only the plain account of a man convinced the truth will be enough. "Captain Leclerc was dying. He asked me to carry a letter to a man in Paris and a packet to Marshal Bertrand on the way home through Elba. I did not open either one. It was not mine to read." Villefort's pen comes to a stop. He studies the young sailor before him, steady and untroubled, asking nothing beyond fairness, and for a moment he believes him. He turns the letter over once more, then reaches for a fresh sheet. Beneath his hand, the order that will set Edmond Dantès free begins to take shape. The second letter is thinner than the first, its seal plain and its hand unfamiliar. Villefort breaks it open without ceremony, his quill still wet above the order he intends to finish. He reads the name once, then again, convinced his eyes have betrayed him. Monsieur Noirtier, Rue Coqueron, Paris. His father. The lamp does not flicker. The room keeps its shape. Yet behind Villefort's eyes, an entire future collapses and rebuilds itself in a single breath. He crosses to the hearth before the thought is complete, the letter already curling toward the flame between two fingers. When he turns back, everything is in place. "You read nothing tonight. No name, no address, no second letter. Whatever becomes of you from this hour, that silence is the cost of it. Swear it." Dante gives his word to a man he no longer fully recognizes, while the question of why dies unspoken. Villefort does not return to the page he abandoned. He reaches for a clean sheet instead, and beneath his hand an order takes shape that owes nothing to truth, only to the ash cooling in the grate behind him. The boat moves without haste, its oars dipping into water that closes again without a trace. Dante sits between two guards, wrists bound, his eyes fixed on a shoreline he could have found blind. A lamp burns along the Catalan coast. Mercedes sleeps behind one of those lights, or lies awake, never knowing what passes beneath it. The boat comes as near to shore as it ever will. He does not call out. A cry would change nothing except the silence he has sworn to keep. The shoreline slips away. The oars never slow. One guard speaks the destination in a flat voice, the way a man repeats a familiar fact. Château d'If. Men go in. The sea keeps everything else, Dante remains silent as the walls draw closer, still believing they cannot hold anything worse than the widening distance between himself and all he loves. The stairs end far below where any door should be. It locks once. Night arrives with no window to announce it. He tears at the grate with both hands until the skin splits, but the iron never yields. At last, he asks for the only thing still within his right to ask. "I would speak with the governor." The guard scratches the request onto a slate, as casually as a man recording the weather. No answer comes. 3 days later, 2 guards escort him instead of one, down another stair, narrower, colder, longer than the first, beyond the reach of any voice from above. The new cell has no window, no grate, no promise of light. He steps inside. The door closes. It locks once. Then it locks again. A second bolt the first cell never required, set by men who expect no more requests from him. The report reaches the prefecture before noon. A dangerous correspondence intercepted, a conspiracy halted, faithful service rendered to the crown. Only one name appears beneath it. Villefort reads the praise twice before filing it where influential eyes are certain to find it. Mercedes has waited in the corridor since the bells struck 7. Her shawl hangs from one shoulder, forgotten. When the door opens, she steps into his path. "Only tell me he is alive. Tell me that much." He never breaks stride. "The matter is under examination. I have nothing to give you." Her hand reaches the wall before her knees can fail her. He is already halfway down the corridor, already shaping the polished account he will repeat over dinner. The same hand that withholds a single word of mercy will later raise a glass to the advancement it has secured. The carriage door closes, shutting out the corridor and her voice. For a single breath, the report in his lap no longer feels like paper. He imagines a room above the harbor he has never seen, an old man's chair drawn close to a cold stove, a door watched long after dark. A single line could be written that night, nothing official, only enough to let an old man sleep. The carriage rolls on. His hand settles back onto the page, onto the names that purchased his place within it. By the end of the avenue, the room above the harbor has vanished from his thoughts. If anyone had asked, he might have denied it had ever entered his mind. Evening settles over Marseille without ceremony, wearing the same light it gives every ordinary day. In her mother's house, Mercedes sits with the betrothal pendant closed inside her fist. She neither weeps nor speaks. The future she counted in days has vanished, and nothing rises to take its place. Fernand watches the fading light from his own window and discovers no comfort in what has been delivered to him. He wished Edmond gone. He never imagined this emptiness. Above the harbor, old Dantès remains in his chair beside the cold stove, listening for footsteps that never climb the stairs. No one is coming to any of these rooms. The council chamber in the Tuileries wears its formality like armor, candlelight resting on gilt and parchment. Villefort stands before the king's ministers, his voice measured, every word carefully weighed. Napoleon has likely already left Elba, Your Majesty. The reports from the south leave little room for doubt. He says nothing about the man already buried in a prison by the sea. There is no need. A crisis vast enough can swallow a single name, and he intends to stand close to its center when history is written. The ministers murmur their agreement. The king inclines his head, satisfied. Then the door opens. The minister of police crosses the threshold, pale-faced, his collar damp, his hands unsteady at his sides. The throne room carries the same gilt as the council chamber, yet tonight it glows with triumph instead of dread. Louis XVIII rises from his seat and lifts the cross of the Legion of Honor from its velvet cushion. Villefort kneels before him, head bowed, every movement measured. The king praises his foresight, speaking of a magistrate who sensed the danger at Elba before the dispatches confirmed it. A servant of the crown whose vigilance surpassed men twice his age. The cross settles into Villefort's hand. Applause fills the chamber, warm and unquestioning, wrapping around him like a reward honestly won. No one asks why his warning proved so exact. No one asks what certainty demanded in return, or whose future paid the price. Villefort rises adorned and secure, the king's gratitude fastened to his name like armor newly forged. The cross still rests against his chest when the knock comes, 3 measured strikes from a man accustomed to waiting outside closed doors. Villefort sets aside the dispatch describing the courier between Bonapartist cells. Neat coat, deliberate stride, a slight favoring of the left leg. He opens the door himself. The visitor matches every line of the description. He offers no card and no introduction, only the calm certainty that he belongs there. "You have been looking for me," the man says. "Under another description, I thought it more honest to come as myself." The voice is older than memory of politics. It once read bedtime stories and corrected Latin exercises. Villefort neither retreats nor welcomes him. His father stands in the doorway, wearing the very outline of the fugitive he has spent days pursuing, and for the span of a single breath, magistrate and son become the same motionless man. The door closes, and the quarry pursued all week now stands inside Villefort's own hall. Noirtier removes his gloves with the calm of a man beside his own fire. "I lead the club they blame for Quesnel's death. I will not pretend otherwise." He asks only for water, a razor, and the plain coat hanging behind the door. Villefort watches the transformation unfold, piece by piece. The collar disappears. The posture shifts. Even the limp fades before the borrowed coat is buttoned. By the time the church bell marks the hour, his father has become another anonymous traveler, leaving the silence to settle on the son alone. The road out of Auteuil lies nearly empty before dawn, yet rumor travels faster than any horse. By the second relay, the club's name has become whispered suspicion. By the third, it has hardened into a warrant. Ledgers burn in houses the magistrates have not reached, and a name spoken at midnight is ash before noon. Villefort writes one report by lamplight, then another, then a third. Each correction arrives too late, while the road races ahead carrying news beyond his control. Wet footprints cross the marble floor before the door fully opens, quick and eager, the stride of a man expecting mercy. The letter in Morel's hand is so light it seems to weigh nothing. The political wind has shifted, he insists. There can be no reason to keep an innocent sailor imprisoned. Villefort listens with the stillness of a man already planning the next move. He served his ship and his country, Morel says. Surely this new order finds no quarrel with that. Villefort answers with forms and registers, with procedures that cannot bend to a shipowner's plea. Morel mistakes delay for diligence, clasps his hand, and offers grateful thanks. The door closes. Villefort sits. He writes the letter Morel believes he deserves, a petition for review, properly dated, sealed, and addressed. Then he drafts the one he intends to send, fastening Edmond Dantès to a danger no review will ever erase. 2 letters, 1 desk. Only one leaves the room. Months fold into one another, indifferent, gone before they can be named. Napoleon returns, then is gone again. Armies meet at a village in Belgium called Waterloo, and the news reaches Marseille first as rumor, then as fact. The wind has turned. White cockades replace the eagle. Bells that once rang for an emperor ring now for a king, as though they had never changed their tune. In the harbor, the tide keeps its ancient hours, untouched by whichever flag flies above the customs house. Beneath it all, almost nothing has changed, except for a single name, absent from the register where it belongs. The marriage contract waits for a single signature, and Villefort gives it without hesitation. The Saint-Méran offer more than a daughter. They offer a name untouched by changing flags, and a place already prepared for the right son-in-law. Property settled, title secured, connections gathered into his ledger of advancement, line by line, with the care of a prosecutor assembling an unwinnable defense against his own conscience. Beneath the Château d'If, A register still holds a name he could erase with 3 words and a seal of wax. He never reaches for it. The possibility no longer presents itself as a choice, only as a door left unopened for so long that it has vanished from memory. He signs the final transfer paper. The harbor remains unchanged. The cell stays locked. Villefort folds the contract with quiet satisfaction and lets the forgotten prisoner slip even farther from his mind. 3 months is all hunger grants a father too proud to eat the food meant for his son. Louis Dantès breaks Morel's bread into smaller pieces with each passing week, certain Edmond will need the larger share when he returns. At last, he no longer leaves the chair by the window. The room that once sheltered a father waiting for a ship becomes a room where waiting itself has withered away. Season after season, it contracts until only that chair and the fading hope beside it remain. They will let him go, he tells the harbor he can no longer see. A man of his character, they will see reason yet. No magistrate hears the words. No appeal carries them beyond those walls. He dies believing the answer is still on its way. No clerk in the prosecutor's office will ever connect this rented room with the stroke of a pen that sealed another man's future. Across Marseille, a column forms at dawn. Fernand's name appears on a list he did not choose, and conscription accomplishes what jealousy never could. It carries him out of the city, beneath orders that owe nothing to love. Mercedes watches the soldiers disappear into the distance. She feels no sorrow at his departure. Walking home alone, she speaks a single name in a voice barely above a whisper. A name the rest of Marseille has already allowed to fade. The name travels no farther than the room where it is spoken. The stone of the Château d'If is too thick for that. Edmond stopped marking days on the wall after 400, when the wall surrendered before the sentence did. He counts by smaller measures now. The turnkey's lamp, the coarse bread, the chill that comes before dawn. He does not know his father is dead. He does not know his rival marched away beneath guard. He does not know a single name on a register closed one life to preserve another. The dungeon brings him nothing, not even rumor. Only the sea reaches him, wearing at the rock with endless patience, a patience no innocent prisoner can afford. Above, Marseille has finished mourning what it believes it lost. Below, a man still waits for a hearing no one intends to arrange, remembered by almost no one, expected by none.